Charting Toward Intimacy covers mature topics. Listener discretion is advised. You're not just tired, you might be hormonally out of sync. In this episode, we're going to break down how everyday habits shape your brain chemistry and why dopamine and cortisol keep pulling you in, and how they quietly are crowding out connection, peace, desire, and really everything that we actually want. If you've been feeling off or disconnected, this episode's for you. Welcome to Charting Toward Intimacy, the podcast for Catholic women that helps you improve your sex life, strengthen your marriage, and embrace God's design for love.
My name's Ellen, and joining me today is my amazing semi-regular co-host, Kathleen Javanis.
All right. Let's talk about some hormones, but not the ones you think we're going to talk about.
No. Honestly, I need this conversation. I need it. And I think so many of us probably need it because we don't realize what we're doing to ourselves hormonally just through daily habits. And that's what we're going to lay out today.
Yeah. So let's quickly talk about the hormones we're going to talk about today.
Yes.
We're going to talk about dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin for the most part. Those are the ones we're going to... And cortisol. I'm sorry. Yep. Going to talk about 4 of them.
Yeah.
So dopamine is like a seeking hormone. Dopamine gives us like a quick hit of pleasure. It is quick. It's like immediate. A quick hit of pleasure in anticipation of a reward. Dopamine is highly addictive. Highly addictive. Oxytocin is the bonding hormone. This is released in like connection with another person. Oxytocin is slow but long lasting. Serotonin is like the contentment hormone. This is like when you feel safe, belonging, when you feel like you are appreciated, like that's where serotonin comes from. Serotonin is also slow and long lasting. And then cortisol is the stress hormone. We need cortisol when we are being chased by a lion. Okay.
There are times when cortisol is very important.
We need cortisol. Okay. But I can almost guarantee no one listening to this podcast is ever going to be chased by a lion.
Almost certainly.
But our body, like, and we'll get into this a little bit more when we get into examples, but like our body sees threats in our world like a toddler screaming on the kitchen floor as equal to a lion. And so like our cortisol spikes unnecessarily.
Yeah.
And then other things, and we'll talk about what else like spikes our cortisol. So anyway, cortisol is a necessary thing, but realistically in our lives, we don't need cortisol very much. Like in our, developed country, like have things at the supermarket that we can just go buy like lives.
There are like parenting situations for sure where cortisol, and I mean, there are situations, right? Like your kid falls in the pool, cortisol spike, react cortisol quick,
just
exactly.
Cortisol, like it shuts down other systems so that you can only focus on the goal is that it spikes your stress so that you focus on relieving that stress immediately.
Right. Exactly.
Right. So that's a great example, Kathleen, of like your kid falls in the pool. Your cortisol is going to spike so that you throw down whatever the heck you have in your hands.
Right.
You run to the pool, you jump in, you grab your kid out of the pool, and you get them to safety.
Yes.
That's what cortisol is for. Unfortunately, we're spiking our cortisol in our lives without relieving it.
And over periods of time.
Yeah, and that's really dangerous for us. And it also is going to, like cortisol. I wasn't planning on like getting into this in this episode, but let's do it anyway.
No, I think it's smart. We need to like really lay the foundation.
Cortisol is going to make all of your other functions like basically disappear. And one of the most important for this podcast is your sexual desire. Cortisol is going to absolutely like squash your sexual desire.
Yeah.
And so if we are regularly spiking cortisol, you're not going to have sexual desire. Like, it actually makes sense if we are regularly spiking cortisol that you don't desire to have sex with your husband.
Because think about
so
it.
let's fix it.
Yeah, like if you're in a situation where you're being chased by a lion, the last thing you're going to want to do is reproduce.
Yeah,
right? Like, it's like your body is like, if you are trying to handle, if it's like a life or death situation, fight or flight, it is not a safe environment for a child to be born. So everything else shuts down, right? Like, we just have to think of it just in terms of, oh my gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my gosh,
Are you looking for, like, in terms of the hunter-gatherers? Like, in terms of...
Yeah, that's exactly,
our
something,
past.
oh my gosh. It's a very basic word that, it's the first day of summer, guys, so.
I don't even know what
School ended yesterday. I need some time to recoup. Yeah, anyway, let's carry on now. Let's just forget the fact that I am lacking words, and let's move on.
So we're not talking about, like, the hormones that affect our cycle. We're talking about these other hormones. Although cortisol can really affect your cycle. Again,
Absolutely.
If you are, like, regularly spiking cortisol over a long period of time, your body's going to be like, I'm going to stop ovulating, and you're going to have, like, poor cycle health. But that's not what we're talking about in this episode.
That's exactly what happens.
What we want to talk about is how our habits are, like, pushing us toward spiking dopamine, which is like fast, easy reward. And that is replacing oxytocin and serotonin, which are so much better for us, so much longer lasting, but slower to come.
Yeah.
We as humans, we crave relationship. We crave meaning. We crave trust. We crave stability. These, like, I think anyone listening could absolutely agree that we crave those things. But instead, we grab quick hits of stimulation that leave us feeling empty. Oof.
Yeah.
Oof. And the top contender for the quick hits.
I bet no one can guess it.
Phones.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
Top contender.
Yeah.
Scrolling Instagram, scrolling TikTok, scrolling YouTube, scrolling your news feed. Okay, I started cutting, like, social media out of my life, like, I don't know, probably 2 years ago. Like, obviously, I have a social media for the podcast, but I don't have a personal, like, I still have a Facebook account, but that's simply because of, like, Facebook groups and Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, I know.
But I don't really find myself scrolling Facebook anymore, like Instagram either. I never got into YouTube. But the news feed, my phone had a news feed, and I kept finding myself scrolling that.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Let me tell you, I do have a scrolling problem. Something that I have done, there is a little device called the Brick. It's a magnetic device. And what you do is you download the app and you set in your phone, these are the apps that are distracting. These are the ones I don't want to, whatever. And then you tap Brick My Phone, and then you hold your phone up to the little Brick device, and it blocks all of those apps. So I know we, like, have this stuff in our phone, like, built in, that it's like, oh, you can just do that in your phone. That is true, but all you have to do is tap one other button that says, oh no, never mind, not right now. And it opens it, right? So if you have an addiction, like I do, then it's not really that helpful because you can just override it. With the Brick device, you have to tap your phone to the device to brick it, and then you have to tap your phone to the device to unbrick it. So that means if I'm out and about with my family, I cannot unbrick those things because the device is at home. This is a phenomenal device. The other good thing to do is to take a social media break. However you can. Now, again, if you've got a problem like I do, there's nothing stopping you from just logging back in. My husband is always on my butt about the fact that I am, like, totally addicted to social media. So in the past, I have actually had him change my passwords, and then I like deactivate my account. So when you log back in, it's always right there. But if I don't know my password, he's only going to give it to me if I really, really, really actually need it for something. Mm-hmm. Another thing I do, I use Facebook for Marketplace. I created a burner account where it was like, I'm not accepting any friend requests.
Yeah, that's a good one. Mm-hmm.
I have no friend requests. I'm not accepting any friend. I actually made myself unsearchable on this other account. I only used the groups that are actually like beneficial to my life. So you can like, there are ways around this, guys. Like, I know there's like such an addiction and we're all so prone to it.
And one of the things I want to suggest, because I want to talk more into the other side of this for the rest of the episode. But one more thing to suggest just on this, like if you're like, yeah, I need to stop. What do I do to stop? Is this is something that AI is really helpful for. Like go into ChatGPT, go into Grok, go into whichever one, Gemini, whichever one you use, and just type in like, hey, I use my phone too much. I use these apps too much. What are some suggestions for getting off my phone that you suggest? And ChatGPT will give you just like a bunch of probably really good suggestions. I mean, some of them might not be good, but right, you can just like, and then you can ask it for more suggestions if you didn't like any of the ones that it gave you. So don't be afraid to like use AI in that way. It can be super, super helpful in that way for like giving you lots of ideas for stopping. But I want to get into like, I think sometimes we can see this and we can be like, yep, this is a problem. I need to stop. But we don't get in to how much of a problem it is. And so then we stop for a short amount of time. We stop for a week. We stop for a month. But then we're just back at it again. I mean, how many of you listening have realized that this is you already knew this was a problem. We are not telling you something new today that this is a problem. And you've tried in the past, right? You've tried to stop and then you found yourself back on social media. Yeah. So, or whatever, right? Whatever it is. And this goes for like, there's so many things that spike dopamine. We're talking about the phone as the like top contender here.
Yeah. But like, okay, some of the others.
Scrolling social media, checking notifications. These are all phone things. Online shopping. This could be on your computer. That's going to spike dopamine. What are you looking for when you're online shopping? You're looking for connection with another person. You're looking for like gift giving, love languages, right? You're looking for either somebody to give you a gift or you to give someone a gift, right? Like, how can we transform that online shopping into what you're really looking for? Binge watching TV. What are you really looking for there? Eating, like snacking, mindless snacking, eating sugary foods. Like those are big dopamine hits. Those have nothing to do with the phone. We're looking like when you go eat a bowl of ice cream mindlessly, right? And I think that you can eat a bowl of ice cream mindfully, but when you go eat a bowl of ice cream mindlessly, you are looking for ice cream has sugar and fat in it. Ice cream is like a big, huge hug. Like that's what sugar and fat does. You're not looking for ice cream. You are looking for a big, huge hug.
So true.
Truly.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
A big one, and we won't go into this too much because that's not the topic of this episode, but like pornography. What are we actually looking for when we hit pornography? Pornography is giving dopamine. And we are really looking for real intimacy.
Yeah.
We're really looking for long-term bonding. Oxytocin. One that we didn't talk about is vasopressin, which is like long-term bonding versus like serotonin is like contentment, serotonin can like lead to vasopressin. They all work together. But really it's that we are seeking out, like we're ultimately looking for something deep.
Yeah.
But we're wanting the like quick reward, quick hit. And I mean, this is such like we can see how this affects our marriages very, very easily. Scrolling social media. So like, just imagine after dinner, you guys both, you get the kids to bed and then you're sitting on the couch scrolling silently. You're getting dopamine hits which feels good. But what you really need is to sit down and talk to each other, which is hard. It's really hard to sit down and talk to your husband, especially maybe if you like aren't even on the best terms right now.
Yeah.
But it'd be so much better for you to seek out that long-term gain of deep relational contentment and commitment, which is going to give you oxytocin, it's going to give you serotonin, it's going to give you vasopressin, which is so much longer lasting, so much better for your body than the quick dopamine hit. And so like this is what we really need to reflect on is like, if we want to change our habits, we need to realize, why is it so important for us to change our habits?
Yeah.
Our marriages are an image of our relationship with God. So yeah, this is vitally important on the marriage level, but this is even more important on a spiritual level. Yeah. Your phone is not going to get you to heaven. It is not. There are very few saints who ever had a phone. Are there any saints who ever had a phone yet? Well, maybe Mother Teresa had a phone. Maybe. There might be a couple modern ones who had a phone. JP2 would have had a phone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But no, they weren't scrolling.
No, they were definitely not scrolling.
Nope. No. Carlo Acutis coming soon, I hope. Oh my gosh.
That's right.
It's like so
That's right.
sad that
I know.
his canonization got pushed back. Coming soon, I think. Like coming soon. But like, you know, he did. What did Carlo Acutis do? Right? Okay, video games. Oh, this is great. What did Carlo
Actually,
Acutis
video
do?
games are a giant dopamine hit. Video games are a dopamine hit.
Set a limit for himself because he knew that there was something way more important at stake.
Yeah.
Like your marriage is on the line. Your salvation is on the line. These dopamine hits are not helping you. And these dopamine hits and the increased cortisol, and this is where we can get into the what's really spiking our cortisol over and over again is like I think the two big things are the news, the constant news cycle. Look, y'all, you don't need to be on the news. And let me give you an example of why you don't need to be on the news. Okay.
Yeah.
I stopped the newsfeed thing, right? And I stopped it like right after Pope Francis died. I stopped it right before. I stopped it right before Pope Francis died.
Of course.
Okay. No, I was explaining to you why you don't need it. Okay, right? But this is a big deal for us Catholics. It's like, oh my gosh, interregnum. We new Pope. Like what? Right? I needed to know. I needed to know all the things. Yeah. But I didn't look at the news. The morning that Pope Francis died, my husband called me. It was like 6:30 in the morning. He was like, hey, just want to make sure you know. And I was like, great. Yeah. I did not need to look it up on the internet. Right? Okay. The papal conclave. I have a screenshot on my phone. It is the funniest dang thing. I was nursing my baby when the white smoke came. And then after I finished nursing, I pull out my phone and it was like 3 text messages, an app notification from Ascension. Like it was just like all these things. See, that everyone told
that
me
is totally
I didn't
true.
need to be obsessively checking. Like the rest of the people in your life are doing it for you. If there is something that important, you will find out. You will.
I will say I quit the news thing a long time ago because I saw how it was spiking my cortisol. I saw how it was stressing me out. It was making me unable to sleep. Like I was getting so worried about things. It was just like, you know what? I don't need all of this. And I read it. So I forget where I read it, but there was like, it might've just been on like a quick social media thing. We are not meant to carry the news of the world.
No.
Right? Like before we had this constant stream of news from every corner of the world, literally, like people were more relaxed because they only had to be concerned with that which was around them.
And that
right?
is
like with
all
that which
you
they
need
had
to
control.
be concerned with.
That is all we need to be concerned with. Like when we are worried about what's going on in Russia and in Africa and in this and in this random family in, you know, like Iowa. Like, it's just like it doesn't, like, all of those things make us anxious, and they spike our cortisol, and they decrease our desire, because now we're carrying the literal weight of the world that we are not meant to carry.
No.
Right? So we do, ending the news stream is massive. And like Ellen said, I've been doing it for longer than, I've been doing this for like probably since COVID.
I'm on like a 1 month stint here. But
yes, I've done this since COVID, because that was when my husband was like, you need to stop. He was like, you're going to lose your mind. You need to stop talking to these people who are just doing this for you. And you need to not open any news things. I will be your source of information. Like I will. And since then, that was when I was just like, wow, this has actually been really nice to not be reading into everything. Yes, it's wonderful.
I love it so much. You know what?
It's so
you know
good.
What we do during the day? We go to the park and we enjoy the sunshine.
Yeah.
And we're not thinking about all that, because guys, like, your salvation does not depend on a natural disaster that is outside of your realm. Okay. Now,
truly,
that is not to say that you shouldn't be like supporting natural disaster relief if you can.
Yeah.
But there are ways to know about and support natural disaster relief, as an example, right? And I would say that there are ways for any of the other like things that you're thinking of that you're like, oh my gosh, but I have to know about this.
Yeah.
There are ways to support natural disaster relief without being like chained down to the news cycle, right? You can follow, or not follow, I would say, like, get on the email list of Catholic charities.
Yeah.
And they will email you when there is a natural disaster, and you can say, oh, I would like to donate $100. I would like to donate $50, whatever. Right.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like, okay, I have, and then you know that you can pray for them, because I think that sometimes we Catholics, we're really sneaky about wanting to keep our habits.
Yeah. So true.
We're like, but I need to know the news. I need to know the bad stuff so that I can pray for it. No,
you're going to find out. You're going to find out. You can cut the news stream and everything's going to be known still.
You can also just pray to God and say, Lord, like, you know, the natural disasters that are happening right now, please keep all these people safe. Right.
Yeah.
Like, so the Lord knows, and he knows that you don't need to know. Right. Like, we can pray for things we don't know and don't understand. And that is okay. And in other situations, it's very important to be like specific in our prayer. But that's more like when it actually really directly affects your life, right? It's good to be specific about prayer, about like you and your children and your husband and your extended, like immediate extended family, like those kind of things. That's when it's really important to be specific. But when it's like bigger things that really are legitimately not going to directly affect your life, you don't need to know about them. And knowing about them, like, again, what is the whole point, right? Because we haven't really talked about sex very much in this episode.
Right. Yeah.
These things, dopamine and cortisol, are absolutely destroying your desire for sex. And, okay, dopamine is destroying your ability to be fully present in sex and to reach orgasm. It is completely destroying that. And like, we can see that on a larger, more extreme scale with like the data that we have on like pornography addiction and how that affects sexual abilities. Mainly that is because of the like ridiculous amount of dopamine hits. And it's like we talk about how our attention spans have been like totally ruined lately. A lot of that is because of dopamine. And like, so you can think about your relationship and your sex life as an attention span that has been affected by dopamine. But we can learn to grow that attention span for our relationships, for our sex life.
Yeah.
But we need to cut out these like dopamine hits so that we have room to even like desire the cortisol. Not cortisol. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we don't desire the
oxytocin.
cortisol. No, the oxytocin.
Oh my gosh.
Can I mention one other reason that we're seeking some of
Yes.
these dopamine rushes, which is novelty. We love novelty. So, like, particularly when we're talking about online shopping, we love it because it's novel, like new things, right? Same thing with the news consumption, the endless news consumption. It's novelty. What's going on? What's new? What's happening, right? Like, and this is a big thing with ADHD too. And all of this. ADHD, if you are an ADHD person out there, my son's ADHD, I probably have a daughter ADHD that's not diagnosed. Like probably half my kids are ADHD, at least, okay? They just are too young to get diagnosed yet. My husband has it. Like I have tendencies, but not a full, like I get it. These are huge needs almost. Like we feel like they're needs for an ADHD person. But I think to give into them, right? Particularly the novelty. The novelty is such an ADHD thing. And I see it with my son all the time, my 10-year-old son, who's like, can I go on Amazon and look up this? Like he's just constantly wanting to buy things on Amazon. What can we do when we're desiring novelty, right? And just like, let's find what are other ways that we can experience novelty. I'm telling you now, if we asked the question, how can I experience novelty in my marriage? We would, like, our marriage would just explode with
Oh my
joy
gosh, so much.
and goodness, right? If we were just like, oh, instead of just needing to buy this thing or consume the news and spike all of these, the dopamine, it's like, how can I experience novelty in my marriage? What's something we can do that's sort of spontaneous, right? Or different or new, right? Then you're getting that novelty, but then you're also spiking that oxytocin, right? And so it's just, we need to just start, what are we really seeking and how can we find it in other ways? Now, granted, they're going to take more work. It's way easier to open up your Amazon app and scroll for some new, fangled thing that you just think is going to change your life, which it's not, just so you know. Like, I know we think that like, oh my gosh, my life would be so much better if I just had this. Spoiler alert, it's not.
That basket, it's not going to change your life. Okay?
I know that you want to mount to the wall to keep all your mail so that you can finally be organized. It's not going to do anything. So
I had one of those. Let me just say, I had a basket mounted on my wall, and it was like I was going to put the mail in it. Oh my gosh, guys, it did not work.
Yeah. And let me tell you another thing that, because again, this is a problem for me, like a big problem for me. Something that's good to do if you find yourself doing that stuff is to take the thing that you really want that's going to change your life and just add it to your Amazon list. Don't buy it.
Yeah.
Add it to your Amazon list. And then go back in a week or 2 weeks and see if you still feel the same way. Because almost guaranteed with 90% of this stuff, you're not.
That is one of the best tricks for like online shopping is give yourself a wait time for purchasing things.
Yeah.
And then also like what you can do is give yourself either a wait time for purchases or you have to have confirmation from somebody, right? It could be like a best friend, it could be your mom, it could be your husband. Like you have to have confirmation from somebody that it is worth buying in this moment. And like, it needs to be somebody that you trust. Like, it has to be a friend that like is on board with understanding that, not just like your friend who's like, yes, girl, get that. It's gonna
treat yourself.
No, not that friend. Okay. We all have that friend, not that friend.
Oh my gosh. It's so true.
But like, so that can be really helpful, right? Because we can be like, oh, but sometimes we do need something like really pretty quick. And like, it's something that we would go to the store for, but we have like 10 kids and we don't want to put them all in the car. And like, it'd be so much easier if we just order it on Amazon, right? So like do the two, right? Either you need to have a 48-hour or more wait time before purchasing something, or you have to have direct confirmation from someone that like, yes, in fact, you do need to purchase that item right now on Amazon, and that is okay. That can be super helpful.
So there are ways around all of these things, but yes.
Yeah. Let's just like sum up.
Yeah.
Everything that we talked about. Throw your phone in the trash, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe get a wise phone. Consider a phone if you haven't looked it up.
Consider a wise phone. Consider a brick. Consider, like, there's so many different tools. Go ask ChatGPT for tools on how to get off your phone. But ultimately, what you need to do is deep connection with another person. And because this is a sex and intimacy podcast, what you need to do is connect with your husband and, like, have sex with him. That's what you need. What you're doing is, like, endless scrolling, and it's dopamine, and dopamine is replacing oxytocin, and it is not as good. You can think of this the same way as the difference between eating, like, carb-filled fast food or, like, a home-cooked meal that has, like, a lot of good protein and fats in it.
Yeah.
Like, when we go, like, the fast food is quick. It is, like, super salty, right? So it's just, like, immediately pleasurable and yummy. And it like fills our stomach, right? It fills us up. But it is not as long lasting as the, like, delicious home cooked meal that you made that has, like, good quality meat in it and high quality fats. Like, but it takes a lot longer to make that home cooked meal. It takes a lot more effort, and it's not as immediately satisfying, right? It's not as salty. It's not as salty as the, food, but it's so much better. It's going to last so much longer. Ultimately, it actually does taste better. It's just that immediate hit of, like, salty deliciousness is not there, but, like, it really does taste better. And it's so much better for you, right? Eating fast food every day is going to kill you. Eating home-cooked meals every day is going to give you more longevity. It's going to help you live, right?
It's going to give you life.
That's what is at stake right now, is our life, is our salvation. Your phone's not going to get you to heaven. Your husband is. I mean, that's what your vocation is. Your vocation is, like, to get you to heaven. So connecting with that guy on the couch, even when you're, like, feeling a little grumpy after your day, and you're like, oh, I just deserve to relax.
Yeah.
I just deserve to, like, turn my brain off.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but you don't. Because your salvation's at stake.
Yeah.
Like, we don't deserve anything as humans. We don't.
So true.
Sorry. We don't.
We're
getting on a soapbox here. This episode's
we're pretty despicable.
Go read The Imitation of Christ and then tell me you deserve to scroll on your phone at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go read any writings of the saints and then tell me you deserve to scroll on your phone at the end of the day instead of connecting with your husband. Because you don't. You don't need to. It's going to harm you, and it's not going to get you to heaven. You need to connect with your husband. You need to put the phone away. You need to lock it up. You need to throw it away. You need to, right? Like, cut off your arm if it is causing you to sin, and throw it into the fiery. Okay. Throw it into Gehenna is what they say. What that was, what Gehenna was it was a valley on the other side of Jerusalem that was, like, the dump and the slums. And, like, sometimes it would be on fire. Like,
wow.
And so, like, throw it into the trash.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. At 36
seriously.
minutes, I think we can.
I know we've really just gone on, but this because it's important, guys. It's so important.
It's so important.
It's so important. Yeah.
All right. We love you. Throw your phone away. Thanks so much for listening. If you're ready to stop feeling confused or discouraged about sex and finally understand how God designed your body for real, beautiful pleasure, you need to check out the Orgasm course for Catholic women. I'll teach you the tools and the mindset you need to experience the intimacy you were made for, all deeply rooted in Catholic Church teaching. Head over to vinesandfullbloom.com/orgasm, and I'll see you inside.